What if today is not just another day? What if today is the line between who you've been, who you were always meant to become? Not because something around you changes, because something within you finally wakes up. The fire, the hunger, the voice you've tried to silence for far too long. You've waited for the right time. You've begged for a sign. You've carried the weight of what was long enough. But here's the truth. No one tells you. Turning points don't come wrapped in comfort. They come disguised as fear, as failure, as that quiet ache in your soul that says, there has to be more than this. And there is. But it's not. Found by standing still. It's found in the moment you decide to move, even if your legs are shaking. Even if the path is unclear. Even if your voice cracks when you speak. This isn't just motivation, this is a mirror. Reminder that you're not here to play small. You weren't born to be background noise in your own life. You were born to become the proof that one choice can change everything. So if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. If you're waiting for permission, just give it to yourself. Because this right now could be the moment everything begins to turn. Sometimes the most important day of your life starts just like any other. No warning, no spotlight, no voice from the sky telling you this is it. Just a moment. A small decision. It doesn't feel important until everything after it begins to change. You wake up thinking it's just another Tuesday, but by the time the sun sets, you're not the same person anymore. And the crazy part, you won't even realize the shift until much later. That's how real change works. It sneaks in quietly, wearing the mask of normal. It doesn't announce itself. It whispers, offers a choice, and waits to see if you're brave enough to take it. One phone call you decide to answer. One job you apply to, even though you feel underqualified. One workout you start after years of quitting. One moment where you choose to believe in yourself just a little. It doesn't look heroic. It doesn't feel magical. But deep down, something stirs. Something wakes up. Not everyone notices the moment their life starts to change, because it rarely comes wrapped in a spotlight. It comes when you're tired, when you're broke, when you're doubting yourself, when you're about to give up. But don't. It's the decision you make when no one's watching. The quiet step forward when the crowd walks away. The time you say, this ends with me, and mean it. You won't feel ready, but you move anyway. You won't have all the answers. But you decide to stop asking the wrong questions. Why me? Becomes why not me? Maybe later becomes now. Fear still whispers. But this time, you don't listen. That moment. That choice. That silent rebellion against your own limits, that's when everything shifts. You won't get applause for it. Not right away. You might even feel foolish, alone, uncertain. But months from now, maybe even years, you'll look back and say, that was the moment. That's where it all began. And suddenly, what felt small will feel sacred. That boring Tuesday will become the day that changed your life. Not because of luck, not because of timing, because you decided, because you moved, because you dared. To believe there was more waiting for you. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't search for signs in the sky. You don't need permission to change. You just need one brave choice and the courage to make it, even when it doesn't feel brave at all. Because the moment that changes everything will almost never look like it. But if you trust it, if you lean in, it can be the beginning of a life you never thought possible. A better story, a brighter chapter, a new you. And it all starts with one decision you make today. There comes a moment when you get tired of second-guessing yourself. Tired of asking for permission. Tired of waiting for the perfect time. Tired of carrying the weight of every what-if on your back. And then ... you snap. Not in anger, but in truth. Because you realize the pain of standing still is finally greater than the fear of moving forward. That's when it happens. That one brave choice. It might not look like much to the outside world, but inside it feels like an earthquake. A quiet war ending, a wall breaking, breath you didn't know you were holding finally released. For years, doubt whispered, lies into your ear. You're not good enough. You'll never make it. Who do you think you are to even try? You believed it. You carried it. You let it hold you back. But now, one decision. One moment of courage. And those lies begin to lose their power, because nothing breaks fear faster than action, even the smallest action. When you choose to move forward despite the doubt, it cracks. When you speak up instead of staying silent, it weakens. When you start, when you rise, when you leap, it begins to die. You don't have to fix everything at once. You don't have to know what comes next. You just have to take the first brave step. That's the thing about courage. It doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be real. One brave choice can rewrite your identity, not from weak to strong, but from I can't to I did. Think about that for a second. All those years you doubted yourself, you were wrong. Weren't broken. You weren't too late. You were just one decision away from waking up the version of you that was always waiting. That version, the stronger one, was never gone. It was just buried, under fear, under insecurity, under the lies you were taught to believe. But bravery unearths it. It digs through the rubble and says, I'm still here. And from that moment on, everything changes. Because when you prove to yourself that you can take one brave step, you'll start believing you can take another, and another, and another, until the version of you who doubted everything becomes the version of you who leads others out of their fear, because that's what courage does. It creates a ripple. One brave choice doesn't just change your life, it gives permission for others to rise too. Your family watches you, your friends feel it. Strangers are inspired by it, even if they never say it out loud. One brave choice can echo across generations, and it doesn't require perfection. It only requires heart. So if you're standing at the edge right now, heart racing, hand shaking, full of noise, remember this. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to be willing. Willing to bet on yourself. Willing to try. Willing to be the one who breaks the cycle of doubt. Because the truth is, you were never unworthy. You were never incapable. You just hadn't made the choice yet, until now. So breathe deep and choose. One brave decision. One honest step. It's all it takes to leave doubt behind forever. Your future isn't waiting for a perfect version of you to show up. It's waiting for the real you, the one who dares to move. It's not the one with the plan fully figured out, but the one willing to act in the unknown. The truth is, life doesn't pause while you build your confidence. Opportunities don't. Slow down until you feel ready. Time won't wait until fear leaves your body. The door is open now, and the only thing that walks you through it is boldness. Your boldness is the spark that wakes up destiny. It's the moment the universe turns toward you and says, let's go. But here's the secret they don't tell you. You won't feel bold when you begin. You'll feel scared. You'll feel small. You'll hear voices telling you to sit down, to stay quiet, to wait. But boldness isn't about how loud you are. It's about how deep you believe. Even when belief feels like a whisper, your future responds to movement, not hesitation. Every great story began with a decision that didn't make sense to anyone else. A leap that looked reckless. A risk that felt too heavy. A moment that no one else believed in, except the one who took it. You don't need permission to go after something greater. You don't need the world to cheer you on before you take the first step. You just need the fire inside that says, I can't stay where I am. That's what boldness is. Not the absence of fear. It's the refusal to be ruled by it. It's looking at the mountain ahead and stepping anyway. One foot, one breath, one heartbeat at a time. And with every step forward, your future leans in. Doors open. People show up. The path reveals itself. Not because it was hidden, but because boldness turned the light on. You have to stop asking the future to meet you halfway. It's waiting for you at the edge, and it won't walk back to you. You've got to move toward it. You've got to let go of comfort. Let go of waiting. Let go of the lie that you need to be perfect before you begin. The most powerful breakthroughs in life are born from imperfect action, not from overthinking, not from hesitation. Your life won't change just because you hope it does. It will change because you demand it to, because you looked at the fear in your chest and said, I'm moving anyway, because you chose not to live on pause. Not to live in maybe, not to live in what if. The future you want is bold, and it's calling for a bold version of you to rise. So take the risk, speak the truth, start the thing. Break the pattern. This moment is not waiting. It is moving. Fast. And you can chase it. Or you can be left wondering what could have been. But if you choose boldness today, if you act, even when it feels messy, if you step forward when everything inside you says hide, you'll see something powerful. Your future won't just meet you, it will multiply around you. Because life doesn't reward silence. It rewards movement. It rewards fire. It rewards those who stop waiting and start becoming. So ask yourself, what would my future look like if I stopped playing small and then go find out? Because your future doesn't wait, it responds to your boldness. Fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. It hides behind excuses that sound reasonable. It wraps itself in logic, in timing, in maybe next year. It wears 1,000 masks, and every single one of them lies to you. Fear isn't the monster under the bed. It's the quiet voice in your head that says, play it safe, stay where it's familiar, don't risk being seen. And yet, every time you've imagined the life you really want, it stands on the other side of that fear. It's not hiding from you. You're hiding from it. Because chasing your dream means walking straight through the thing you've avoided, through the fear of failing, through the fear of judgment, through the fear of not being enough. But here's the truth. Fear is loudest right before it breaks, right before the breakthrough, right before you cross the line between who you were and who you're about to become. The life you dream of, it's not impossible. It's not unreachable. It's just guarded by the part of you that's afraid. And that's why it feels so far away. You weren't born to live small. You weren't designed to settle. It's that ache inside you, the one that never goes away. It's not a curse. It's a calling. A reminder that you were made for something more. But more requires risk. It demands that you walk through the storm, not around it, not over it, through it. Because fear doesn't disappear when you wait. It disappears when you walk straight toward it. Every legend, every leader, every soul who ever changed their life, they all had one thing in common. They faced the fear they had spent years avoiding. They stood up, knees shaking. They took the shot, voice trembling. They made the leap, even when they couldn't see where they'd land. And in that moment, fear lost its grip. Not because it vanished, but because it was no longer in control. You've waited long enough. You've played it safe long enough. You've told yourself, maybe someday, more times than you can count. But what if this is the moment? What if today is the day you decide to finally cross the line? Not because you're fearless, but because you're tired of being trapped by fear. The life you want isn't built on comfort. It's built on courage. It grows every time you choose to move toward what scares you instead of away from it. You already know what staying small feels like. You've lived it. You've worn the mask. You've silenced your voice. Now it's time to see what happens when you step forward. You won't have all the answers. You won't feel perfectly ready. But courage doesn't wait for perfection. It rises in motion. And the moment you step toward what scares you most, you'll discover something beautiful. The fear you've been running from isn't half as strong as the strength that's been sleeping inside you. So take the step. Face the thing. Speak the truth. Begin the chapter. Because the version of you you've been dreaming of, the one who lives free, who stands tall, who breathes deeply and walks boldly, that version is real, and they're waiting. Right behind the fear you've been avoiding. You've been waiting for the plan to be perfect. Waiting until you feel ready, and waiting until the fear goes away, waiting until you know exactly what to do next. But what if that's the lie that's been holding you back? Because no one starts with all the answers. No one begins their journey with a clear map. No one feels fully ready. Not the first time, not the second, not ever. The truth is simple. You don't need clarity to start. You need courage. You don't need the whole picture. You just need one corner and the will to paint the rest as you go. That dream you keep putting off, it's not waiting on more information. It's waiting on your action. Action creates momentum. Momentum crushes doubt. You think you need certainty, but what you really need is to move, to try, to take the risk, to begin before you're ready and trust that you'll grow into who you need to be along the way. Think of every person who ever made a difference. They didn't start with a script. They started with a spark. a gut feeling that said, this matters, and they followed it. Act. Through confusion, through failure, through moments where nothing made sense and everything felt like too much, but they kept walking. Because starting doesn't require perfection. It requires permission. Permission to be messy, stumble, to be a beginner. Starting means choosing movement over mastery. It means saying, I may not know it all. I'm not staying here. You see, the beginning is sacred. It's raw, it's honest, it's real. It's the part where you stop waiting and start becoming. No one remembers the people who waited. They remember the ones who showed up. Anyway, who dared to look foolish in the name of growth, said, I'll figure it out, but I'm going to move now. That's power. It's bravery. You don't need 10 steps ahead. You just need to take one. And that one step, where everything changes. That's when your mindset shifts from fear to faith. That's when your story begins to write itself in bold, in fire, in forward motion. And it's not supposed to feel easy. If it does, you're not growing. Growth is uncomfortable. Beginnings are awkward. But regret is unbearable. Don't wait for the stars to align. Don't wait for everyone to approve. Don't wait for the voice in your head to get quiet. Start now, right where you are, with what you have. Even if it's not much, it's enough. You'll learn more by doing than by overthinking. You'll grow more by failing forward than standing still. You'll become more by beginning now than waiting another year. And someday, when you're further down the road, you'll look back and smile. Not because it was easy, but because it was real. You'll remember the day you chose to begin, without all the answers, but with all your heart. So breathe, stand tall, and take the first step. Because everything you're looking for, it's not found in knowing, it's found in starting. Every legend you know today once walked the world as someone nobody noticed. No spotlight, no fame, no applause, just a person with a choice and the courage to make it. They didn't have guarantees. They didn't have a perfect plan. They had doubt. They had fear. They had days when quitting looked easier, but still, they decided differently. While others followed the crowd, they stepped off the path. While others waited to be chosen, they chose themselves. While others settled, they said, not me, not this time. That's where legends are born. Not in talent, not in luck, not in applause, but in that silent, sacred moment where you say, I'm not going to live like this anymore. And no one sees it. No one claps. No one even knows what just shifted inside you. But from that moment forward, you're no longer who you used to be. It remembers the ones who refused to blend in. The ones who made a decision when the world said, don't bother. They were laughed at, doubted, ignored. But they didn't need validation. They needed vision, because deep down, they knew, I may be a nobody right now, but I'm building something no one can see yet. That's how greatness begins. Quietly, privately, painfully. You don't wake up a legend. You become one. One bold choice at a time. When you decide not to quit, when you show up after the failure, you speak, even when your voice shakes, when you lead, even when no one's following yet, that's where everything starts. And here's the part most people miss. No one is born destined for greatness. It's not a bloodline. It's not a label. It's a decision. A decision to rise when it's easier to fall, to stand alone when the crowd sits down, to dream louder than the noise trying to shut you up. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far behind. You're right on time. The decision that changes everything. Do not let your current reality define your future legacy. Do not mistake being unknown for being unworthy. Do not believe that legends are born. They're built. They're built exactly where you are now. In the doubt, in the dirt, the dark. Where no one claps. Where no one believes. Where it's just you. And the decision to keep going. Anyway, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be loud. You just need to be different. Different from who you were yesterday. Different from the voices telling you to quit. Different from the crowd that gave up too soon. Because the only thing standing between a nobody and a legend is one decision. A decision to believe, to build, to rise. And that decision, that power, that path, it's yours right now. So take it, own it, and walk forward boldly. Because one day, they won't call you a dreamer anymore. They'll call you what you always were. A legend in the making. There's a moment in every life where standing still becomes the most dangerous move of all, not because you're going backward, but because everything in you knows you can't stay here. You feel it in your gut. You hear it in the silence. You see it in the mirror every morning, a quiet ache, a voice that says, you were made for more than this. But more will never come unless you move. Because growth doesn't chase you. You have to chase it. And if you don't step forward today, you'll wake up tomorrow in the same place, the same routine, the same limits, the same regrets. And slowly, someday turns into never. We think time is endless. But every day you don't move forward, yesterday tightens its grip. You become more familiar with staying stuck than dreaming free. And that's the trap most people fall into. Not a lack of talent, not a lack of potential, a lack of movement. They let fear build walls around their life. They let comfort become a cage. They let the unknown stop them from becoming unforgettable. But you have a choice right now. Today, you can either repeat the pain of your past or rewrite the story of your future. You don't need a miracle to change your life. You need a movement forward. Even if it's messy, even if it's small, even if your legs shake while you take the step, because motion creates momentum. Unlocks everything. But you'll never feel ready. No one does. The difference between the ones who rise and the ones who remain isn't talent. It's the choice to move anyway, even when they're scared, even when they don't have the answers, even when it hurts. Staying still feels safe, but it's an illusion. Because the longer you wait, the heavier it gets, the harder it becomes, and the more yesterday starts to feel like forever. You weren't born to be stuck. You weren't created to settle. There is a fire in you, and it's waiting for direction. But fire dies without fuel. Your future fades without action. So don't ask for signs. Don't wait for someone to save you. Don't hope the perfect day will come. Make it. Create it with one small step today, and watch the door crack open. Not wide, not all at once, but enough. Enough for light to break in, enough for hope to return, enough for you to remember who you are. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not the version of you who gave up yesterday. You're the version that chose today. To rise, to risk. Rebuild. And it all begins when you stop holding your breath. Start moving your feet. Don't let another day pass carrying the weight of yesterday. Don't let comfort rob you of greatness. Don't let fear tell you this is all there is. Because if you don't step forward today, you'll stay stuck in a life that never grows, never heals, never shines. But if you take that step, even one, you shift everything. The world will move with you. Doors will open. Energy will rise. You will remember what it feels like to live again. So don't look back. Don't hesitate. Step forward. And take your life with you. Every day, people look up and whisper the same question. Give me a sign, a signal, a moment. A message from the universe that tells them it's time. They wait for confirmation. For stars to align. For someone to say, now is your moment. But while they wait, life moves on. Because the truth is, most people waste years waiting for a sign that was never coming. Not because they didn't deserve one, because they didn't realize the sign was supposed to come from them. The brave, they don't wait for signs. They become the sign. They become the light in a world full of hesitation. They become the proof that it's possible. They become the spark that others were hoping would save them. And it all starts with one decision. To stop waiting and start walking. To stop asking for permission and start giving yourself the green light. You don't need the universe to send you a signal. You are the signal. You are the call to action. You are the moment someone else needs to witness. You are the example that says, if I can do this, so can you. Think of the people who inspire you. The stories that moved your soul. The heroes who rose from nothing and changed everything. They didn't have signs. They had setbacks. They had silence. They had moments of doubt, just like you. But they moved anyway. And that movement, that courage, that choice to act. Without clarity, that's what made them unforgettable. You want your life to mean something? Don't wait for meaning to arrive. Create it. Shape it. Be it. The world doesn't need more people watching. It needs more people becoming. The first in their family to break the cycle. Becoming the first in their circle to dream bigger. It's becoming the one who turns pain into purpose and hesitation into action. Because signs don't move people. People who act do. And when you step forward boldly, when you choose courage over comfort, you shine in ways you never imagined. You start to feel it, that shift inside you, that knowing that you are becoming what others are still hoping to find. It's not easy, it's not, but it's powerful, and it's real. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be loud. You just have to be willing. Willing to walk when the path is blurry. It's willing to speak when your voice shakes. Willing to rise when your knees are weak. That's what bravery is. And in that bravery, you'll find purpose. You'll find your voice. You'll find your sign. Because when others say, I need proof, you'll be the one they point to and say, there it is. That's what legacy is made of. Not waiting, but choosing. Not wondering, but becoming. So stop asking for signs. Stop looking for signals. And realize this. You're it. You're the light someone else is praying for. You're the fire someone else will follow. You're the moment someone else will look back on and say, that's when I knew I could do it too. You don't need a sign. You need a spark. And that spark is already in you. So strike it. Step into it. Stand in it. Feel your fire. Your circumstances may explain where you are, but they do not get to decide where you end up. Too many people hand their future over to their past. They let pain write their script. They let fear steer the wheel. They let history predict everything that comes next. But the truth is, destiny isn't something you stumble into. It's something you shape with every decision you make. Yes, circumstances matter. Yes, pain is real. Yes, life throws things at you that you didn't ask for and didn't deserve it. But here's what life can't control. Your next move. It can break your heart, but it can't break your will. Unless you let it. It can shake your world, but it can't choose your response unless you surrender it. You are not defined by what happens to you. You are defined by what you do next. Because every great transformation doesn't begin with better circumstances. It begins with a better decision. A decision to rise. A decision to try again. Decision to lead your life instead of react to it. You don't need a perfect life to live a powerful one. You need powerful choices. In the middle of your mess. Every hero you admire, every story that gave you chills, they all started in a place of disadvantage. They didn't wait for the odds to shift. They became the shift. Because they understood the secret. Circumstances describe your situation. Decisions define your future. You can't control where you started, but you have complete power over where you're going, and the road ahead isn't carved by what the world gives you. It's carved by what you choose to do with what you've got. You get to decide, will I rise or will I repeat? Will I fight or will I fold? Will I let my environment shape me? Or will I shape the environment around me? Your destiny doesn't care if it looks impossible. It only cares if you're willing to move anyway. You'll be born into struggle and still build legacy. You can lose everything and still create greatness. You can face betrayal, heartbreak, failure, and still rise stronger than ever. Why? Because it's not the situation that defines the outcome. It's the decision that follows it. A decision to rebuild, a decision to forgive, a decision to stand back up and say, this is not how my story ends. The world will try to convince you that you need a better hand, but you don't need better cards. You just need to play the ones you've got with unstoppable courage. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken. You are just one powerful decision away from changing the entire course of your life. So take the wheel back. Stop waiting for life to feel fair. And start leading with bold, intentional choices. Because in the end, it won't be your hardships that decide your legacy. It will be the decisions you made in the middle of them. The decisions to keep going, to believe, to build, to rise. Destiny doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the bold. Everyone wants a turning point. The moment when everything shifts, when pain fades, when purpose appears, when the clouds part and clarity finally arrives. But turning points aren't magical. They don't fall from the sky. They don't knock on your door wrapped in certainty. They are chosen, created, forged in the fires of decision. Because your life doesn't change when you wish it would. It changes when you decide it must. Turning points aren't a product of luck. They are the result of courage. The courage to say, I can't live like this anymore. Courage to stop spinning in circles and finally turn. The courage to choose the unknown over the unbearable. There is a moment, maybe right now, where something inside you says, this isn't it. There has to be more. Was made for more. And that voice? That's not delusion. That's direction. It's not weakness. It's awakening. But most people ignore that voice. They call it a phase. They numb it with distractions. They silence it with fear. And they keep walking the same path, the same pain, the same patterns, the same prison. Because turning means leaving what's familiar, even if what's familiar is slowly destroying you. But you have a choice, right here, right now. You can keep going in the direction of regret, or you can choose the road that leads to redemption. It might be harder. It might be lonelier. It might take time. It leads somewhere different. Somewhere better? And that choice? That one hard, terrifying, beautiful choice to turn? That's your power. You don't need a lucky break. You don't need the perfect moment. You don't need someone to come rescue you. You just need to look at your life honestly and decide to turn the page, to turn your mindset, to turn your pain into fuel instead of a cage. Because one decision, one real gut-level decision, can separate your past from your future. It doesn't erase your scars, it honors them. By choosing not to let them define you anymore. Turning doesn't mean forgetting where you've been. It means finally choosing where you want to go. In every great story, every comeback, every redemption arc, every triumph starts with one moment where someone said, I've had enough. Enough fear. Enough waiting. Enough shrinking. They turned, and everything changed. Not overnight, but over time. Because direction matters more than speed. So if you're tired, if you're broken, if you're staring at a life that doesn't feel like yours, you don't need to burn it all down. You just need to turn. Turn toward healing. Turn toward growth. Turn toward the life that's been calling you for years. Because this right here could be your moment. Not the moment luck found you, but the moment you found your fight again. Not because the world gave you a sign, but because you became the sign. This isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of your turning point. So take a breath, plant your feet. Look your past in the eye, turn. What if the life you've been praying for isn't lost? What if it's just waiting behind one decision you haven't made yet? Not because you're not ready, but because fear convinced you that you need permission to begin. The truth is, no one's coming to hand you a perfect moment. No voice in the sky is going to shout, now is the time. The voice has to come from inside you, from the part of you that's tired of being stuck, tired of playing small, tired of living a story that doesn't feel like yours. Because there's a moment in every person's life where they stop looking outside for a savior and realize they are the one they've been waiting for. It doesn't look like lightning. It doesn't feel like certainty. It feels like a quiet fire. The kind that starts in the pit of your gut and dares you to move before you're ready. We've all been conditioned to wait for clarity, for safety, for approval. But the problem is, life doesn't wait. Dreams don't wait. And the more you stand still, the heavier it gets to even imagine motion. Your comfort zone is not your friend. It's a cage. And every day you sit inside it, the bars get stronger. But you were not born to live caged. You were not created to survive in the shallows. There's a deeper calling inside you. One you've been hearing for years but have kept silencing because answering it might mean walking into the unknown. But let me ask you something. What has staying known ever really given you? Has it set you free? Has it built the life you see in your dreams? Or has it kept you just safe enough to stay stuck? There's a version of you that exists beyond the excuses, beyond the fear, beyond the old wounds. That version isn't someone you become one day, it's someone you already are, buried underneath the lies the world handed you. Lies like you're not good enough, you're too late, you don't have what it takes. But here's the truth. Those lies only live as long as you keep feeding them with your silence. And the moment you speak up, the moment you take even one step in defiance, they begin to die. Because courage doesn't shout, doesn't come with a perfect plan. It whispers, "Start now." And when you listen, something powerful happens. Not overnight, but slowly, steadily. You begin to remember who you are. Most people miss their turning point because it doesn't feel like a movie moment. It feels like confusion. It feels like fear. It feels like walking away from a version of life that felt safe, but was slowly killing your soul. But in that exact discomfort lies your power. Because discomfort is the birthplace of evolution. It's where your transformation gets forged not in clarity, but in chaos. And you don't need a 10-step plan to rise. You just need to decide that you're done waiting. That you're done playing the background in a story you were born to lead. That you're done measuring your worth by other people's standards. You are not behind, you are not broken, you are not less. You are becoming. And becoming is messy. Becoming is uncertain. Becoming is sacred. You will not have all the answers. You will not always feel brave. But your willingness to begin is enough. Because you can build everything else along the way. Confidence, strength, clarity, they're not prerequisites for starting. They are results of starting. They come in motion, in momentum, in deciding that your story will not end in silence. So if you've been waiting for the right time, is it not because the stars aligned? Not because someone handed you permission? But because you decided that today is the line between who you've been and who you're about to become. And when that decision is made, even if everything else stays the same, you don't. You change. You rise. You ignite something unstoppable. Because one decision, one real, honest, defiant decision, has the power to shatter a lifetime of doubt. And that kind of decision, it lives in you. It's been waiting for you. And now, it's time to choose it. Every breakthrough you admire started with a decision that made no sense at the time. A decision that defied the odds, that went against the grain, that whispered, "There's more than this," even when everything around screamed, "Stay where you are." It's not the loud decisions that change everything. It's the quiet ones, the private ones, the ones no one claps for, the ones made in the dark, with tears in your eyes and doubt in your chest. But fire in your heart at the moment you tell yourself, "I'm done waiting, I'm done surviving, I'm ready to live." That moment, that whisper of rebellion against the life you've outgrown, that is where the shift begins. Not on stage, not in front of a crowd, but alone, with just you and the truth. And the truth is this: you've always known what you needed to do. The problem wasn't clarity, it was fear. It was the weight of other people's opinions. It was the habit of staying small to make everyone else comfortable. But growth was never meant to be comfortable. Becoming who you're meant to be isn't polite. It's not convenient. It breaks you open. It costs you comfort, safety, even relationships sometimes. But what you gain is everything. You gain alignment, you gain freedom, you gain your voice back. You gain the version of you that doesn't just survive the storm, but learns to dance in the rain. The people who don't understand that, they were never meant to come with you into this next chapter. You weren't born to tiptoe through life, just to arrive at your grave safely. You weren't made to dim your light to avoid offending those who are still afraid to shine. You were born to rise, to shake the ground beneath your feet, to become the kind of person whose presence reminds others what's possible. But that kind of power, it doesn't come from waiting. It comes from walking, even when the path is unclear, even when the weight is heavy, even when your knees are trembling and the world doubts your every move. That's when the strongest version of you is born. It's not in applause, but in resistance, in silence. In the tension between who you were and who you're becoming, you have to stop negotiating with your potential. Stop asking your past for permission to build your future. Stop seeking validation from people who've never had the courage to dream like you. Because dreams aren't up for debate. They're up to you. They're your responsibility. If you don't fight for them, no one else will. Not because people are cruel, but because most are too afraid to fight for their own. But you've come too far to quit now. You've carried too much pain to let it be for nothing. And somewhere deep in your soul, you know it. You were meant for more. You feel it when you're alone. When it's quiet, when the distractions fade, that voice that whispers, keep going. That's not fantasy. That's your future calling. And it's getting louder. So stop asking if you're good enough. You are. Stop wondering if now is the time. It is. Stop waiting for someone to believe in you. Believe in yourself. Because that belief, even if it's small, even if it shakes, is the seed of every revolution. You don't have to roar. You just have to begin. And from there, everything changes. The way you walk, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself through rooms that used to intimidate you. Because confidence doesn't come before the step. It comes because you took it, and each step builds the next. Until one day you look back and can't even recognize the person who once lived in fear. They say, don't burn bridges. But maybe it's time to burn the ones that lead back to fear, back to smallness, back to a life that fit but never felt right. Let the old self be the ashes you rise from. Let doubt be the fuel. Let your scars be the story you carry forward, not as shame, but as proof. Proof that you didn't just survive, you rose, you rebuilt, you chose. And in that choosing, you became unstoppable. Because when you decide, really decide, that you're done letting fear dictate your life, the universe doesn't just watch. It moves with you. It rearranges things. It opens doors. Not because it's magic, but because your movement activated what waiting never could. This is not a message. It's a mission. It's a line in the sand. And you get to choose, cross it or stay behind. No one can do it for you. No one can. Walk it but you. But if you do, if you dare to move forward even one trembling step, your entire life can change. Not all at once, not in fireworks, but in momentum, in clarity, in the quiet return of belief, because belief is not a destination. It's a decision, and you're one away. There will be days when doubt returns, uninvited, persistent, familiar. It will try to convince you that you were foolish to believe, that progress was an illusion, that your dream was too big for someone like you. But that's when you remind yourself, doubt doesn't mean stop. It means you're stepping into territory you've never walked before. New ground always feels unstable at first. But every step forward, no matter how shaky, lays the foundation beneath your feet. You're not starting over. You're starting stronger. Because this time, you have proof. Proof that you didn't give in, that you chose movement, that you are no longer who you were, and you will never go back. And that shift, that quiet, powerful shift from waiting to walking, that's what the world needs to see. Not perfection, not certainty, but someone who dared, someone who chose to live, to try, to rise. Someone who gave themselves permission when no one else would. You were never here to play small. You were never meant to fit into a story that made you feel invisible. You were made to rise through the fear, to stand inside your truth, to leave behind every version of you that stayed quiet too. Be accepted, because the people who truly matter won't love you for who you pretend to be. They'll love you for who you become when you finally choose yourself. So take the step, not tomorrow, not next year. Even if your hands shake, even if your voice cracks, even if everything in you screams to wait, don't. Because this moment right now could be the moment everything begins to change. The moment the old story ends, and the real one begins.
Hi.
You don't need more signs. You are the sign. You don't need more time. You've already waited long enough. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be willing to stand, to move, to become. 'Cause one brave decision today could become the sentence they write about you someday. The moment you chose to change everything, so breathe in and begin. Thank you for staying. Till the end, if this message stirred something inside you, hold on to it. 'Cause sometimes one story is enough to spark a transformation. Your journey matters. your voice matters. And your next step could inspire someone else's breakthrough. Until next time, keep rising.